Good night, hello, 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 everyone. We're back with another Saturday night talk. Got Deb on here. We are ready to talk. How you doing, Deb?
I'm doing great. How are you doing, Jewel?
I need a nap.
I need one
I
too.
need a nap. Yes, I'm excited about tonight. I'm glad we're able to come on. Delayed a little bit just due to the time change, trying to get everything in order. Are you able to see me okay?
I am great.
Good. Well, what shall we talk about today? I know we've covered a lot. Um, I'd like to maybe catch the viewers up on what we've been talking about, our concerns. I will also share the link. Um, so, with that being said, um, let's just talk about the different things we've been talking about here lately. Uh, the epidemic of overdosing, homelessness, and I'll let you start out and I will adjust everything else while you're talking. Is that okay?
That is great. Um,
Okay.
we still have um, an overdose problem in our country. I encourage everyone to be Narcan trained. I really, really do. You have no idea when you may encounter this. Every community has an access availability to having a trainer or someone either from your health department or governmental office that can come in and do a training. I think it's great for civic organizations as well as in the church. Um, lot of resources out there to help with that. Also, I am a big advocate for NAMI. I believe that all of us need to spend some time um, being properly educated about mental health. Um, it is a problem, there's a stigma, but I think that we'll understand it more if we just take time and gain some knowledge. I am in my third week of it's called Family to Family. And that class is 4 weeks long, 5 hour session. But I must say it's extremely informative and it can be emotional and intense. I think there are like 13 individuals in that class, but I consider it a huge benefit and a great educational tool. So, you know, mental illness is truly real. There's a problem in our society, and there's this stereotype in certain cultures, and we have to help break barriers and bring change. And part of that is um, correct terminology and proper knowledge about these different diseases and the impact. We have to know how to talk correctly to individuals that may be struggling with mental illness. So, Jewel,
Yes, ma'am. That's good. Yes, we do. We need to talking about the terminology and everything. That's good too, because what I'm finding is a lot of people are, depending on where people live. Like I noticed on the East Coast, there's a lot of people who are well versed about things in their community and how the support is totally different than it is where I'm from. And ironically, the support is coming from people that are not from here. So I'm trying to figure out what happened in this region where people don't stick together. They say they do, and then all of a sudden they flip. So I was hollering.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll have to dig into some resources in your region to really find out what is there. Sometimes I believe that if you don't ask, you are not supported and you're not informed. But sometimes finding the correct support can be difficult. It's like finding, I think, a needle in a haystack. And you and I have talked about this multiple times in our private conversations about the struggle that you're having and finding organizations that really want to collaborate and kind of work in the community to bring about community change. You know, we
Yeah,
have to want to change our community culture and bring awareness. You know, one of the things that has been extremely interesting to me, I love the NBA, um, that whole thing with Jay and on the Grizzlies and the gun. And though he was not charged, you know, the NBA, you know, he did go to get some counseling. He has acknowledged that wasn't even, I guess, his gun. And it was just, I guess, one of those crazy impulse things that um, probably was not a good thing to do. However, we don't know and understand the pressure that individuals are sometimes facing.
right.
You know, in the professional world, they deal with peer pressure just like other entities do in our society. And we don't think of that. Was it peer pressure? Was it poor judgment? I can't speak to it because I don't know enough, but I do believe there was some signs of mental health that has been brought to surface, and I applaud him personally that he acknowledged it and went to go seek therapy.
Yeah, and that's good. We still have to get raw about that too. It's good to start the process, but what I have noticed, even on the professional level, is that part of society has made people embarrassed
Yeah,
about the choices that they've made, or not, maybe not just the choices but the situations that they're in,
right.
and that is not okay. So I'm noticing that, and clearly people here, who don't want you to succeed, but they don't want to help you either. Ha, that's a problem. So, and you know what bothers me though, Deb, is how I feel like that was designed that way. Because once you get to a certain level, once you get to a certain caliber, then you start to look down on other people instead of saying, okay, we made it. Because the way I was raised, if you make it, you pull people up, you bring people along. But we're at the point where we're like, oh, we don't know where they came from. We don't know what they're doing. But where does that, let's help one. Each one help one. You don't just knock them down, make them embarrassed to talk, or make them feel like they're less than. We're supposed to figure this thing out, but again, society has made many people feel like they don't want to open up. So with that being said, Wednesday, um, March 22nd from 5 to 7 p.m. I'm doing a wellness clinic where you have to RSVP. It won't be on Facebook, where I can help people to get their bearings. I can help people to understand that it is imperative to teach people about their health, to help people who want to get off medication, or you may not be able to get off of it right away, but you can sure learn how to reduce your medication. The knowledge has got to start somewhere, just like we're doing here on this platform, talking about stuff. Listen, I've watched many of YouTube channels here recently talking about certain things. Number one, if you follow my other platforms, I posted on one and they automatically sent it to something else. And I don't remember signing up for that, but I did mention San Francisco and how they were going to start the amount, the $5 million. And then NAACP came on and said, you can't possibly pay people enough for the times. But what we do know is that San Francisco didn't have slaves. They had harassment, profiling, you know, uh, uh, all kinds of other issues, but definitely not that. So they threw it out. They don't want to do anything about that. And the reason why I'm saying all of this, mental health, it's affecting our mental health. Disease is affecting our mental health. Disease keeps us stressed out. Our mental health keeps us stressed out. So I'm trying to find a way to get people to come together and understand what they can do to help themselves naturally. So I just said a mouthful there. I know I get lengthy. So what do you say about that?
I think that's incredible. I did a post today about Saturday being self-care day, and people don't understand the importance of self-care. Reading a book, um, addressing your personal hygiene, getting outside and getting some sunlight, some fresh air, some exercise. Even if you walk 10 or 15 minutes, it'll make a difference. Make sure you're opening your windows, opening your blinds and your curtains to let fresh sunlight in. All of those things are important to our mental health. And a lot of times, are you getting the proper rest? Are you getting enough rest? I mean, sometimes if you've had a restless night, that impacts your day.
Yeah.
And that's not and especially if you do it for multiple days, you need to figure out what is stressing you out. What are you worried about? What are you concerned about? And address that head on and fix it before it affects the rest of your self-care health.
Well, that's true, but that's the thing. We can say that all day long. We can say fix it, but do they have the tools? Do they know what to do to fix it? And I'm on here on I don't know how many days, Tuesdays and Thursdays, talking about health and wellness. Tonight, talking about what can people do, like you say, fix it. Okay, we're here to help people fix it. We're here to give them resources. So we're here to talk about different things. We're here to talk about what's going on in the community. They may not know how to go about it. We may be able to give them resources. That's what tonight is all about. So, yeah, yeah.
It's not easy. Sometimes people don't ask for help. I know in addiction counseling, confidentiality is so important. you have to build a relationship with that therapist. You have to have that trust, but there also has to be boundaries
Yeah.
in that relationship, and you work through that in small segments, very small bites. You know, sometimes some of this starts with childhood trauma,
Yeah. And I
and
do say that.
and when it is childhood trauma, you have to go back and talk about it. You know, you need to be able to feel comfortable with whoever you're talking to, and that you're not being judged for your feelings. Those are your feelings, your perception of the situation, whether it was the correct perception or not. That's not what this is about. It's
Right.
about making you talk it out, come up with solutions to help you heal.
Exactly. It's a process, so
It is.
you have to trust the process, you have to trust yourself, you have to trust the person, and like I think I said last week, um we used to talk to our neighbors. You know, the neighbors
Mhm.
knew the kids trusted the neighbors, and they became auntie or they
Mhm.
became uncle so and so. And it
Right.
takes a minute to, you see them, you wave at them, and then the next day you see them and you wave, and then the next day you may go up to the line and say hello. Then the next day, you build a rapport. And once you build a rapport, then you're able to talk these things out. And then, like you mentioned once before, you don't have to tell everybody your whole life story. But whatever the issue is, you can talk to someone about your issue and then go from there.
I agree, Jewel. I think we have a different sense of community now than we did when we grew up. Um, and I'm not making an excuse, but many times we don't even know our neighbors.
No, we don't.
We may throw up our hands to them and wave, but to take that extra few steps to go across the yard and say, "Hey, my name is so and so," and extend our hand and get to know them. You know, in the community we grew up in, um, we knew our community based on our church. I'm finding out there's a real disconnect in our faith-based community now, because so many people are doing church online
Yeah.
still post COVID. So they're not actually entering a building anymore because they've become quite comfortable staying at home, watching it on Facebook Live. So sometimes people are struggling because they no longer have healthy relationships. They're
Right.
not seeing people. They have kind of isolated themselves, which does impact their mental health.
Right. And I don't think they realize that. And I'm saying they, sometimes we all get to a place where we're not sure what to say, how to do it, but you have to try. I think people feel so defeated. And there's no one they can talk to, but that's why these platforms are important now. If everybody's, many people are watching. I too watch church online too, but I watch two, three, four different ones online, but I still am a people person, and I still reach out to people. I still try to connect, try to get in touch with people. But I think we have to be creative. And I
Mhm.
think, that's part of it. We're so stuck that as a society, many don't know how to reach out or just start a simple conversation. And then again, you don't know who's real or not, because one minute you think they're okay, and then you find maybe that's not it. But the more people engage on these platforms with meaningful conversations, maybe they can get into a circle of friends, or a platform that they see and they're engaging and they're having fun. But it's going to take some time and it's going to take some work. But
Absolutely.
yeah, one thing I will say though is, you know, if, how can I say it? Um, a lot of people don't want to understand these challenges. I think they're stuck in their, and they're comfortable with their livelihood and they don't have to connect. But there's some people that, you know, they're noticing it and they're trying to reach out. The only thing is we're just so spread apart, and to find people with like minds is kind of difficult these days. So I don't know, what kind of suggestion do you have about people connecting when it's difficult?
You know, one of the things I thought about this week, and I haven't shared it with you, that we may need to start what, well, something that I know that we are going to start is lunch and learns. Do it over people's lunch hours. Um, Maybe, you know, some of our segment may need to happen during lunchtime while people at work, shut in their office or at home. That might be convenient for them, and have, you know, a mental health professional come in and talk, or you talk about wellness in that platform, and mental health. um, we are going to start hosting lunch and learns because we do prevention here. um, as you know, we do the blessing box, and we have started this week blessings on wheels, which is a mobile blessing box where we actually take the food to seniors in our community.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, they do that here, on Tuesdays, which is a nice, that's good. Good for you.
And we are also taking it to a community that's part of our county that's over 450 people. They do not have a grocery store there. They have like a little small convenience store, gas station. And we took food there Wednesday and they gave it out to their community last night. We, but through that, people fill out a registration form. So we have some demographic information. We know how to actually contact these individuals. So we can call and text them, you know, and build relationships. Many people that come to us for food, we have a relationship with them. So we're able to develop and kind of assess what their needs are. I'm going to tell you, we started a Bible study and people come when food is involved.
Oh
I'm the
yeah.
first. If you feed them, they will show up.
Yep. We
And
know that. Hmm.
we know that. So what we are starting to do with our lunch and learn, we'll have sandwiches, something for them to come spend an hour with us. Our Bible study that we do on Thursday evenings here, um, we provide food. So food sometimes it takes, I think, the barrier. People feel very relaxed. They don't feel um, as guarded. They feel a little bit more comfortable. And last week they had veggie trays. So we try to give healthy food that maybe they normally would not incorporate in their everyday life, as
Yeah.
far as a veggie tray and fruit tray and some, you know, ranch dip, that kind of thing. We have to be willing to introduce things differently. You never know when you change things up if it's really going to work. You're just taking a chance and stepping out in faith and trying to help people. But people will come to those situations, to those type developments. They also, we let them bring their children.
Yeah. Yeah. It's time for the whole world to get involved. It's time for communities to get involved. It's needed because the kids also will um, get their parents to do things that the parents would probably never do unless the kids are there. And then they'll say, mommy, let's do this or whatever. But yeah, the kids is the are the ones who can change the mindset of a parent. So
Absolutely.
yeah, these are good things to do. And that's why I'm saying, to be able to talk and find out. There's so many issues in the world. Now, let's talk about another issue since we're talking about children. Do you know about the 1619 project? I think, is it in Georgia and Florida?
I think it's in Georgia. But I'm not positive of that. I've heard just a snippet about it. I haven't done a lot of research, so go on and share what you know, and I'll.
Okay. Well, I'm still, it's so much out there. Uh I saw a lot of things on TikTok, which I'm not a big fan of, but I learned how to do it over the holiday season. And how dare parents go to their school and get an attitude and say we don't want our kids to learn this. This is a part of history. I think if anybody wants to understand more about it, it was in the New York Times magazine.
Mhm.
And they were giving historical facts. They were telling them to share them, and parents were irate. But now, what I do know is they are saying, I don't know how many are doing it, but they're saying that all 50 states now have resources and can get more. I think it went to the Pulitzer Prize
Mhm.
Center or the Pulitzer
I've heard that.
Center website. Yeah. So my question is, who's rejecting the knowledge? If it's true, I mean, it's truth. And they were trying to tell people, don't just, adjust what the original publications are. Tell the truth about it. So it's so much controversy, why many have lied about the whole story in the first place is beyond me, you see. And that's where all this stuff is coming from. There's children's books out there trying to get kids to boost their self-esteem. There's so many different historical facts, and that's why I say different regions are it's different everywhere. But now that we're transients all over the place, why is it that we don't broaden our horizons? Why are we trying to stay in this little box? That
I
infuriates me.
will say this, and I want to rewind this back a little bit. When you're talking about schools, I saw something on Facebook about the school system that I'm in the county of, and I don't know if it's true, but I will say this as a parent and a grandparent. Parents, you need to take time to go see what's happening in your child's school. Grandparents, you need to take time and eat lunch with your grandchildren. Um, I saw some things that concerned me this week, that parents and grandparents are no longer welcome in schools and they're being denied access in the school. And I want to know if that is even legal in
No.
school systems. I don't believe that it is. And I want to know why individuals are tolerating that. I feel as a citizen and a taxpayer that you have a duty to know what your child, number one, is being taught. And I feel like you should have an access. They were talking on Facebook this week about parent handbooks are not being sent home anymore. We got a parent handbook, and our parents had to sign a piece of paper that they got the parent handbook, that, you know, they saw it. Now, whether they read it all the time, that was one thing, but they came home with the student like within the first couple weeks of school. You know, they were saying they don't have a parent handbook. They don't know what their parent rights are. They call to the schools and the administrators aren't calling them back. One person made a comment that their child was given a Mormon Bible at school, and, you know, they kind of wanted to discuss why were they given a Mormon Bible, and no one wanted to address it. Eventually, I guess the mother was allowed access to discuss it with the principal, with a resource school officer in the principal's office. I would be concerned if I'm not allowed to go see my grandchildren or eat lunch with them, except when they invite me for Grandparents' Day.
Well,
I,
honey, let
I,
me
I,
tell you, I read something about that the other day here, DPS schools, and this guy fought it. The judge said overturned it and sided with him. So I don't know where this originated, but it didn't go over well here, and they did not allow that. And he took it to court. So I'm that mother. When my son was in school, I was at that school for 3 months, sitting in on the class, working in the bookstore. The kids would be like, because they knew me. And if I could get other parents to do the same, that would have been great. But I'm that mother that was at the school, and they tried it back then. My son is 35 now. And back then, I was trying to get people to help and get involved. Here we are in 2023. If they think that people are going to go backwards, they got another thing coming. I think people are waking up, and I think people are should, if they're not, fighting for something. Because what's that saying? If you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. People aren't.
absolutely. And that concerns me. You know, these are public schools, and we're not talking about private education. Tax dollars
Yeah.
that taxpayers are helping fund this educational system. And we have to learn how to be an advocate for children. And we cannot be an advocate sitting at home on the couch. You know, I know if you're working a job, it is difficult, but you have a lunch break, you get vacation time, you get whatever time, and you need to be at your parent conferences, your teachers' meetings, whatever they call them now. You need to be there. You need to try to volunteer at that school at whatever level works for you. If you can't, if you have a brother, sister, auntie, grandmother, someone needs to show their face. I used to go take lunch to my kids, and sometimes I would, you know, I would do lunch with them at their schools. And I think if we don't stand up, then we won't know what's going on in our schools. You know, some of the adults I deal with in addiction, Jewel, have actually told me some of their childhood experiences were trauma that they received in a school setting.
Yes, yes.
They couldn't read like the other children, and children made fun of them, or teachers called them dumb. You're going to be stupid just like your cousin, and all of this kind of stuff. And this has followed these people into their adult lives in
Yes.
their 30s, and they kind of feel defeated in this. So please go to your schools and find out what is going on. And if you do not have a handbook, you need to go to the superintendent's office if the principal's office doesn't have one, and get one and read it and understand what you can and can't do. You may have to make an appointment to go eat lunch, but that's okay. Follow the rules. But
Well,
just don't
that's
stay at
another
home.
thing, though. I think that's part of it. I don't think people know how to go to school and know how to fight for what they believe in. Why? Because in in the schools, and because of the color of our skins, they want to say we get irate, but that's not what it is. It's because they don't know how to deal with us. So instead they say we're confrontational, they say all these things, and then that's to suppress us, to keep us from getting involved. But see, I was that parent that went up to the school. Yeah, I may not have understood the whole book, nor did I want to. Because what do they say? Put it in a book. That'll keep you
Mm-hmm.
from learning anything.
Mm-hmm.
See, now you got to get in touch with people who may understand it. We've got people in our neighborhood. Well, when that we went to school with that are in education, that's why it's important for the people on the higher level, to get in the community and help people understand, how do you fight, how do you go up to the school, what are your rights, because they work in the school, they should know as well, you know
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, trauma is trauma. And, we do a teaching on trauma informed care. And if we, based on statistics now,
yeah.
we have a lot of children that are coming up with anxiety disorder in elementary schools.
Yeah.
So in some situations, those children are in school more than they're awake, spend more awake hours in schools than they are at home. So what's going on possibly in a school setting to onset trauma? Is it the discipline? Is it the way they're being talked to? Is it self-esteem? I believe in educators.
That. Yeah.
I believe, and I don't want anyone in education to feel that I am not supportive of them, because I am extremely supportive of teachers, very much so.
Well, I
But at,
am too. But let me, not to cut you off, I am too, but I can vouch for a few things when my son was in school. He can raise his hand and ask a question. They'll say, "Oh, we're not going to talk about this right now." So they put fear in these kids,
absolutely. And
and
I
that's a fact.
and I agree with you, because I'm telling you, I have a whole group of people that are dealing with substance abuse that have told me stories of their second and third grade teachers and what they did, and they went home and told their parents, and their parents were, I guess, intimidated, maybe, didn't want to go to the school because they felt like they weren't qualified to, speak up to them or against what was going on, Jewel. And I'm like, from everything from suspension to losing privileges in playing in athletic sports because of behavior. And we've just got to address some of the trauma that children are feeling, that rejection that is being planted at an early age in our society. So I'm begging people, take some time and go visit what is happening in your child's classroom. And if you're not talking to them about their school day, do take time and talk to them about how they're being treated and how they're being talked to. And are they being bullied at school by little Johnny and, Sally or Susie? Take these things seriously,
Yeah.
because a lot of students that commit suicide, sometimes it starts with bullying in elementary school, and no one takes their conversation serious, and that's bred down inside of them for whatever reason, whether they're bullied because they can't wear Nike tennis shoes, whether they're bullied because their clothes have holes in them, whether they're bullied because they come and they have head lice at school, whatever the situation is, that's instilled in that person, and it's a wound that they carry that continues the cycle, the cycle, the cycle. Then when they begin in their preteens and adolescence, that's where some of those suicidal thoughts, they want to end it because no one asked them about their day. No one asked them how they felt. No one asked them how they were being treated. And those are things that we have to learn to do in our society. We as adults, we need to talk together. We need to talk with our children, grandchildren, to find out about their day. They may tell us something that they may not tell their parent when we're
Right.
in therapy.
Oh yeah. That happens a lot because they don't.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because they don't feel comfortable, or their parents will start fussing at them instead of understanding that it bothers them. It may not bother the parent, and then they may discount their feelings. So now we have to make sure that there's some validity to all of this, that we, like you
Absolutely.
say, we have to take it seriously. And yes, we it's just like saying, what's up? Last week we said, I was talking on the podcast, and we were saying back in the 80s and 90s, we were trying to, you know, make sure our kids knew what was a good touch and a bad touch. But what we
Absolutely.
didn't understand was they're putting them in closets, they're doing different things to them, and it's traumatizing them. And then now all of a sudden you want to say, oh, they have ADD, ADHD, or they're bipolar. No, it's because of the way they were treated. And that slave mentality. They don't want to call it that, but let's just call it what it is.
Absolutely. And if we don't speak up, it will continue. Mental health and the African American culture is high,
Yeah, it's very
because
high.
and it a lot of it has to do because we weren't allowed to talk and express our feelings. We were kind of um, discounted our feelings. We were kids, go somewhere and sit down and be quiet. Our parents talked to us, sure, but I think sometimes they didn't really understand um, to the depths that we do with all the training and educational tools that we have, how that made us feel. I feel like they did the best that they could with the education and the tools and the knowledge that they did. Um, but at the end of the day, we have to feel and let people know it is okay to talk.
Yeah. See, and I say I was blessed because I called my mom the Kool-Aid mom. people used to come and talk to my mom all the time, but
Mhm.
my mom had me at a later age. And my, and my sisters at a later age, so they were more mature. I think they were more settled. uh, but a lot of my friends would come and talk to my mother, even my father, the boys in our family, because my dad we didn't have any brothers. And
Right.
so, then I stopped saying so much because I noticed that some of my friends were jealous because I had a mother that I could talk to. And I remember one day when I felt ostracized by my friends, and she was the one that told me, "You're different. You can't this." And, she had a conversation with me. And then I would talk to my dad about, "Well, I don't have any boyfriends." And he was like, "Oh," I said, I don't look like the other girls." And he would say, "Don't nobody want a bone but a dog. Beauty is
That's
in the
right.
eye." Yeah. And he would say, "Beauty is in the eye of the beholder." And
Right.
those are the things that nurtured me. So if we don't have these things in our society, in the communities, or when I used to teach modeling, those, and in school, should be a place where people are being nurtured and their confidence, to build up their confidence. But instead, like you said, it's suppressed, you
Mhm.
know so we've got to get back to basics and help our young ones, help them to see that it's more to this. Uh, what I do know is what's done in the dark is coming to light, and people are getting exposed on many levels. It's a story that we probably weren't privy to, but some people were privy to,
Absolutely.
and that's a way to suppress us, you see. But it was done in the dark is coming to light.
Absolutely, absolutely. I had some sessions this week with individuals, and they were having problems relating to some of the things that the children were saying, and the children um, appeared fearful to talk to their parents about their day, because sometimes I think a couple of them were afraid they were going to be in trouble for discussing this.
Oh,
And I had to kind of work with the parents. Look, it's okay to sit around the table um and talk with your children. Now, I'm finding out that a lot of people don't have family dinner like what we grew up with. Everybody eats in different parts of the house, or they don't
yeah,
even, I have some people that don't even have a kitchen table.
yeah,
So, I mean, some of the things that we had that we feel is normal is not normal. And we make some assumptions, even in counseling them. I find out, oh, well, we can't afford a kitchen table. Okay, how do you talk? How do you eat? Well, we sit in our living room and we have TV stands that we eat in, or okay, whatever your setting is,
right.
use that setting as a positive sound place for people to exchange a healthy dialogue
Right.
and express
That's
and,
right.
and, and degress their day. They've got to get it out.
And that's the some of the classes I think would be nice to have, is to teach people how, and to help people to understand that's important now. Get back to the basics, which is what I say. That's one of the
Mhm.
things, to get back to the basics. Even if it's
Absolutely.
a card table. Half these people have bid whiz parties and they have card tables. Sit at the card table, and even if it's 2 or 4 tables, and have a conversation. Put it in a circle or put it in a square shape and talk about your day. People have to get back to talking again.
Well, and with some of the children, I had them. even draw pictures, some illustrations. Draw me some pictures about your week. How were your emotions? How did you feel this week? And that, art therapy is powerful when it comes to mental health and drawing and individuals being able to express, and the colors that they're using in it, if they're using a bunch of dark colors and things like that. We talk about those colors, and why did you use a lot of black or brown and navy blue in your markers, today, and try to see what you can get out of them in conversations, because sometimes that's a sign,
But
something's going on.
that's also clinical, Deb. See, we have to get out of that too, because we've been brainwashed to think black is wrong, white
Oh,
is
no, 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 no.
heaven. Sometimes we have to we it all it takes is to listen. Yes, some colors, but listen, the colors are different because
Depending
say,
on the person.
yeah, like for me, I wear a lot of black. Why? Because makeup, makeup artistry, we wear black, but we accessorize. But some
Right.
people, they'll say it's gothic. So
Oh, yeah.
we've got to be careful. This is why I say there's a stigma to so much. Although in what you do, there may be some something positive about it, but
Hmm.
don't just use that
Oh,
to
no, no,
say,
no.
oh, this is what no, that's not always what the problem is. And a lot of people say, oh, if they wear black, they're mourning, they're
No.
sad about something. But I hear what you're saying. I just wanted to throw that in because I know that
Right.
you're learning stuff too, but I'm atypical of the average. All it takes is to listen to the person.
Well, and I agree, listening skills are important, but sometimes with children, Jewel, children, if you're a stranger, they're not going to open up with a stranger
No, they don't.
initially. They want, you've got to go through several sessions with them before they feel that relationship and build that trust and bond. So sometimes art therapy and their pictures mean something. And
Yes,
you can pull things out of them through that to get them to open up and begin to start speaking, especially in young children. If we're talking 7, 8 year olds, they may be at that blooming age. But I've had some children that have come in and they know that their mom or dad is struggling in an active addiction. And you can definitely tell they've been coached on what not to
say,
say, and
yeah.
they're very, very guarded in their conversation.
That is true. That is very true. However, I will say this, every child is not artistic.
Oh,
You
sure.
know, and so I've had some that you have to that saying, meet them where they are.
Yes.
They're not going to open up unless you're interested in the things that they're interested in. And
And most
then they'll open up.
now
That's
a lot of them are into TikTok now. And I mean, I'm serious. They are. And I am not into TikTok. Some of them I will literally give them my phone. I did start a TikTok account just for this reason. I
mm,
will give them my phone and, well, what do you like on TikTok? And they'll go through there. I mean, they know how to get right to it and they'll do it. And I am like, oh my goodness. You learn a lot by what they're listening, what they're
yeah.
what they're watching, what they enjoy. And it's very educational, I must say.
It is. It really is. That's one thing I was gonna say too, is that I don't know what the LOP I'm doing, but I'm learning how to do it. Didn't want to do it, but as we go, but now see, I'm starting to see that I think they're watching TikTok because of all the stuff that's on there. But that
Hmm.
is something that I wanted to do, is uh, to get the younger generation to learn stuff like a trade or like etiquette classes. They don't even know how to sit at a table with a complete, not they, not all, some, to sit at a
Right.
table with a knife and a fork, how to cut the meat, certain things, or just for the young men, to pick up a trade. But everything
Mhm.
is going to social platforms and it's all negativity. But what are the things that people can do to help them to balance, to align themselves? That's the stuff, which is why I wanted to do, all these different platforms to get people a change of something where they're not always watching, all these reality shows. They don't even understand that's scripted. They
Mhm.
think it's reality. So TikTok, well, I'm gonna have to follow you on TikTok.
I'm like, I'll just hand them the phone and I'll go to it and they'll get up and some of them will show me their latest dance moves and dances that they've learned on there. And I'm like, but I'm learning a lot about them through that
That's right.
because it's a conversation starter.
Right. And it's good for them. That's their generation. But you
Mhm.
can at least see what they watch, the things they watch, and then you can go from there, which I agree with
Absolutely.
that. Yeah,
Absolutely.
I
It,
agree with that.
it's hilarious sometimes what you learn.
Yeah, it's fun. Um, and then sometimes it's so sad because there is so much on there. And I don't like putting all the negativity in my being because I
Right.
have to help people to get out of their
Yeah.
sad space. And speaking of sad space, well, um, I guess we only have what, a few more minutes left, Dad. It went by so fast tonight. Um,
Absolutely.
well, let's talk about the last issue. I know you started out with it, talking about the overdosing and the uh, drug. I call it, well, it is an epidemic, but I think it's time to bring more awareness to that as well. And I was
Mhm.
talking about those the diet pills. Now, first, let me just say this. I i kind of have a solution to this problem, but I don't know if they're going to hear me on here. My thing is, if you are prescribing medications, why do we not have a program that once you prescribe the medication, there's a program to titrate them down and they have to take it if they are prescribing medication? So that's one thing I have a problem with, prescribing medication and then you just leave people to think that they can continue to get the medication. They say they have to see the doctor before they can prescribe more. But now we're at a point where there's an addiction. Now we're
Yeah.
dealing with diet pills. This oh, what did I call it? Ozempic,
Ozempic. Mhm.
Ozempic. Okay, so if they're using the generic brand and it's creating a shortage, I'm trying to figure out, when did that become a trend?
Well,
Because
I'm going to tell you, I don't know about there, but not only the diet pills, but those the shots that diabetics, I guess there's what is it? We Wegovy, something like that. It's used for diabetes, apparently, is the primary. There's about 3 different ones. They're shots,
Mm-hmm.
and they are being used also. They will help with weight loss.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I heard about that.
Yes. And you have to be very careful because they'll start you low and then they'll gradually increase you, or your dosage. And but that this medication was designed for people with diabetes, but now it's doubling as a weight loss.
Yeah, and that's all the more reason for people to get in touch with me, to learn how to eat naturally, healthy, to learn how to reduce their weight. I don't think a lot of people, some people know, but not all. But my weight, I was a size 22 because of the shot that I had to take for allergy asthma. And then once I stopped taking that, then I started working on healthy choices. And I have been consistent over 40 years. It's been over
Um,
40 now. Yeah. But anywho, yeah, and I don't understand how they're getting away with that. That's why I'm saying, is that a trend or something?
mhm.
Because 1 minute, it's the vitamin D. 1 minute is zinc. 1 minute it's calcium. 1 minute, and it seems to alternate. But to take this medication, when how many times do people see on the news where if you take this medication, here's the side effects? So at what point do they not have an aha moment to say, I'm not doing that? I'm going to learn to eat natural. I'm going to learn to make healthy choices. I'm going to learn to push away from the table. I'm going to learn to drink more water. I'm going to learn to do these things instead of risking your life for for a brand or for a pill that can take you to a place you don't want to be.
Absolutely. And a lot of people are doing it as a quick fix. And I think that they don't think they can afford a nutritionist. I don't, because some of these services insurance doesn't pay for. And um, I think that we've got to think about that. Um,
Yep. And
uh,
I'm a sliding scale. So that's why I'm getting out here to let people know your insurance won't pay for it. Your doctor won't pay for it. Um, you know, um, what other alternatives do you have? Which is why I keep saying, I'm trying to get myself out here to help people because I do a sliding scale. But what I'm not, I'll do a sliding scale. I'm not going to say a donation anymore because listen, they'll pay for whatever they want to pay for. So now is the time to pay for your health because it's that important.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I totally agree. Well, I really think that needs to be promoted. I really think that we need to, and I think that needs to be promoted within the church circle. You know, we need physical, mental, and spiritual wellness within the church, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
Well, I've
I mean,
always said that. That's why my body temple butter is called body temple butter. Why? Because we have to take care of our temple. But how
absolutely.
is it that we're not educating these people in the churches about their temple? We talk about Leviticus. We talk about the food. Why isn't there a section where they fast and pray, but they don't even know why? They just do it because that's what they're told. No, let me educate and let me tell them the why. You see?
You know, in the Bible, it talks about frankincense and myrrh, and those were special oils or elements that they used. Um, People don't realize the value that those have even today. I use frankincense oil myself personally. Sometimes I'll put it in the diffuser. Sometimes, if I have body aches, I'll use it with, a carrier oil, usually almond or coconut oil, and the relief it gets. We've got, we Google everything else in America. We need to be Googling things that will transform our life and help us live longer and more
Yeah,
fulfilled and pain free and all of those other things. But
yeah.
we've got to, I feel like, get back to basics. We've got to get down to the nitty gritty of what's really going on and making logical investments in our health.
Well, I can see you've got some homework to do because that's what I do. Uh, I've got a whole counter of essential oils and helping people to understand, and also for like drops. You can get 20 drops of essential oils, um, but you have to do a patch test.
Yeah,
So that's the stuff that I do. So yes, which is why I have these platforms. There's so much that needs to be talked about. There's so much that's wrong. But frankincense I put in my cosmetics. you know Oils I use daily. um Lemon oils, we have a section that
hmm
talks about the facts, the features, and the benefits.
hmm
So all of this stuff that we're talking about, our body temple getting into alignment, you got to go. I know I have a lot on my website, but if you click on those tabs, you'll see that's what we do, getting people back to basics. I didn't just learn about this, I've been doing this all my life. And so those are the things that I try to help people to understand. And I know it's broad, but that's what I'm starting to promote because it's time to get back to basics. It's time to help people to understand how to get in alignment and to center themselves. That is necessary. So, yeah,
Absolutely. Absolutely. I have individuals that I work with that I have them, several of them use lavender and peppermint at night in their diffusers to kind of help them relax and sleep
yes,
fully.
yes,
Some of them have anxiety, and rather than being on a prescribed medication, just having that diffused in their environment helps them to
right.
rest better.
That's
And
right.
I I encourage those things.
Exactly.
Medication is not for everybody. I do IV infusions about every 4 weeks to get minerals and things, glutathione, things in my body that I probably am not getting enough of through my diet. So I
Yeah.
do that. And I try to, not everybody can do it. And the IV therapy is not covered by insurance, but
Yeah.
you have to be willing to make that investment in your life. Really
Absolutely.
helps keep your immune system built up to fight off different things that they say out here in the environment that will wear your body down and cause you to be healthy but I unhealthy. I know that for people that struggle with anxiety, um lavender, lemon, peppermint, are some of the go-to oils that I encourage them to do. Some of them will put some lemon, a little few drops in their water, because I never knew there were so many people that did not like the taste of water. But using it flavored, putting something in it helps cut that for them, and that helps them consume it. Hey, if that's going to help you, then you do what you need to do to make it work, because your body needs water.
And it's an antioxidant, and it's good for a lot of things, also for cleansing. So see, that's something that will be offered on Wednesday. That's what I'm doing on the clinic. You should come. $15.99 on Wednesday from 5 to 7. There is a clinic, and it's not going to be on YouTube or Facebook. It'll be a private event. But yes.
Great.
Yeah, but well, there's so much. You'll probably start to see some of the advertisement that's going to be circulating tonight, and also till I believe Tuesday. But yes, that is something that we can educate about. Like I said, I am a distributor for Young Living, but I also suggest that people do a patch test before they start using oils. Also, the species and the genus, because I use them all, not just Young Living, doTERRA. There's Melaleuca, and there's other ones depending on what region they come from, which is why I say that to people. Don't just go out there and get anything because somebody tells you to do a peppermint oil. You have to check your blood first. You also have to do a patch test first. It's, a lot of people are trying things because it does relieve stress and anxiety, but you also need to know the species and the genus. But yeah, that's the stuff that I help with. So always check with your doctor if you're on medication as well, because some of those oils can counteract your medication if you're on medication.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So yeah. Well, we done made it through another Saturday night talk.
Absolutely. We had a good talk too.
Well, I appreciate it, and all these people. If you guys are watching this on the click replay, so that I know that you're watching replay, why don't you go ahead and share it, like, comment, and subscribe to my channels so that you know. And then Deb, go ahead and let them know about she's on Linktree as well, under.
Voices of Savannah TN.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
I'll go ahead and run that one last time. And so make sure you connect with us, like our pages so you know what you're doing. Deb, I'm looking forward. You're going to have to do some research. It's been a long time. We're just coming together, but that way you'll know exactly what it is that I do. And as always, I do share things on my platform supporting you. And I just look forward to us doing more. Summertime is coming, so we'll have to. Yeah, we'll have to talk about that. I know that you're going to get busy as well. So we may tweak it or change days. For those that are watching, let us know what days work best for you. If you'd like us to come on different time, a different day, let us know. So with we never know unless you guys talk. As they say, a closed mouth doesn't get fed. Please let us know. Yeah. Well, thank you, Deb. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Anything else you want to say going out?
Nope. Have a great week, everyone.
All right. Thanks a lot, everybody. Peace and blessings to all. And enjoy your weekend, everyone. Bye bye.
Bye bye.